Mr. Chard, it's an honour to serve under your chairship. Thank you to everybody who has come today for us to talk about the Green Book. Our constituents all know very clearly that something is not right and that it has not been right for a very, very long time. They pay their taxes and they can't see things getting any better. In Congleton, I can't see any evidence of any significant infrastructure spending for many, many years, except for where that's been facilitated from house growth. Government money doesn't appear to have been involved in significant ways for a long, long time. The last government did talk a good game on levelling up the north, but the actual investment never followed. And that is why my constituents voted for change. In my area, I want to see the Middlewich bypass. I want to see the A50, A500 North Midlands manufacturing corridor. I want to see massive investment in improving our electricity grid. I want to see all kinds of changes and improvements. And I can see very clearly that at the moment, something is not right. Total public spending per person, capital public spending, in the North West is £13,297 per year. In London, it's £14,842 per year. Those are the 2022-23 figures. So something is being done to allocate money in these ways. The Green Book is the guidance issued by HM Treasury on how to appraise policies, programmes and projects. The 5-case model is the required framework for considering the use of public resources to be used proportionately to the costs and risks involved and taking account of the context in which a decision is taken. The 5-case model involves a strategic dimension, what's the case for change, including the rationale for the intervention, what's the current situation, what's to be done, and so forth. There's an economic dimension, a commercial dimension, can a realistic and credible commercial deal be struck, who will manage which risks, a financial dimension, and a management dimension. Are there realistic and robust delivery plans? Can the proposal be delivered? Certainly will.
Shannon.
Leading the charge of the debate this morning at 9:30 and doing the same at 4:30. Well done to the Honourable Lady for both those debates. And just to back up the Honourable Lady, does the Honourable Lady not agree that the Green Book review has to have a view to each area of the United Kingdom and not simply point all roads to London and the South East, as we're all aware that in other areas of the UK, policies and procedures that work well in London don't translate to rural local authorities, and a review of the cognizance of that must be in place, as the Honourable Lady is saying exactly just that.
Sarah Russell.
Thank you very much to the Honourable Gentleman. I certainly do agree. So we are very pleased that the Treasury has initiated a review into the Green Book. We believe this presents an opportunity to once and for all address a range of key issues that have undermined successive governments' attempts to rebalance our regional economies. In grasping this opportunity, we believe the review must be done with ambition and a willingness to challenge underlying customs and practices. In particular, it needs to learn from the successes and failures, and I would say largely failures, of previous Green Book reviews, and in particular the 2020 review. The review recommended that the locational effects be understood via place-based analysis, with benefits of any intervention valued specifically for the area, and hence enabling any transformational impacts being properly recognised. But once again, these recommendations do not appear to be generally reflected in practice, particularly in the application of departmental level appraisal guidance. It's vital that the current review addresses this, and I believe that considering options in the context of place and properly valuing transformational impacts of interventions is crucial if we're to realise the potential of the North West and of all of our regions. We need to simplify and speed up our Green Book processes. The guidance is enormously long, incredibly complex. It has multiple supplementary documents adding up to thousands and thousands of pages. Changes, subtleties and intent get lost within the complexity, and the practice remains unchanged. This very complexity leads to a desire for a metric that cuts through, and that probably explains why the business case thresholds remain so dominant. And that is probably how the weighting towards expenditure in London and the South East continues to predominate. There is an absolute consultancy industry around the Green Book, and raising That raises the cost of developing a successful business case. It also makes it very difficult for smaller local authorities to successfully put together a business case, because the complexity of doing so is just absolutely mind-boggling. Frankly, the whole thing is just a bunch of piffle. We need to make this very simple and outcomes-driven. We need to really, really slim it down, and we need it to be in a format that actually local authorities and our mayoral devolved authorities, as we acquire one in Cheshire and Warrington, will be able to actually use it in a practical way. We need a stronger focus on place. We need to really look properly at where money has been spent historically and where we therefore need investment. We need to weight this specifically towards areas that haven't received investment, so that we can redress the imbalance where transport spending in London vastly outweighs it in the rest of the country. When I moved to the north of England, I was so shocked when I first used the rail network. I was in my 20s, and the Pacer trains were still being used. I mean, these were trains that were fashioned out of bus chassis, and they carried on being used for, I believe, 37 years. They were given a maximum lifespan of 20 years. They were supposed to be a short-term, very basic thing to start with. And the level of shoddiness was just astonishing. And that's what we're always given in the Northwest. We're given the cast-offs, and then we're expected to make do, and then what we're expected to make do with is expected to continue way beyond its intended lifespan. And that's been going on now for as long as anyone can remember. And then our economy reflects that very, very sad point. So the Labour government, I know, is focused on improving this situation. I would really like us to work extensively on this together. I know that the Green Book review will be carried out at pace and that the government has announced these plans. This cost-benefit analysis needs to be fundamentally changed so that we can shift capital expenditure out to our regions at pace. And by that, I don't mean demanding that local areas, as the last government did, could produce a shovel-ready project at the top of the hat so that they could rush spending through and make it look like they were doing something for the north of England. I mean a fully considered set of proposals that enable regions to be fully developed through our devolved mayoral authorities, which I think are going to be a spectacular improvement for many areas of the north, and that will enable us to have proper economic development in the north of England. This isn't just about pots of money or building the odd road or extending the odd rail. It's about quality of life. It's about making places that people want to go and live in, where they feel confident, where they can bring their children up. There's opportunities there, and they don't have to go somewhere else to get on. None of it is beyond us. Most other countries do it, and I don't see why we shouldn't either. That's Alistair Darling from quite some time ago, but it applies more than ever now.
Yeah.